more neighborhood oriented and actually include folks in the neighborhood in the budgetary process called participatory budget. How about you have some input on what happens with our spending? Wouldn't that make sense? We go neighborhood by neighborhood and think of the problems that we have and how we can address those problems through the budget. Civic engagement is about inspiring people to care about where they live, feeling a sense of hope, opening the doors of opportunity, engaging them in meaningful conversations, not telling them why we can't do things. And we have to change the way we're doing things in order to get there.
Repeat the question? No problem. What is the city's mechanism for engaging citizen participation, and what would you do to increase it? What new citizen participation mechanism are you planning on putting into place, and how would you develop and implement it?
Thank you. That's a very good question. If you get an opportunity to go to my website and read my piece that I did on Syracuse.com, and read my piece I did in the Syracuse News Time, it speaks directly to that. One of the things that I've done over the many years that I've been involved, and particularly since I first ran, is I would hold town hall meetings. So if you look at my platform currently, my platform is driven by the people of this community, because I'm the only person who has held town hall meetings and continue to hold town hall meetings throughout the city to get your perspective and your opinion. That's critical. You can't attempt to move the city forward thinking that you have all the ideas when you don't engage the people. That's one. The other piece is TNT. TNT does excellent work, but they're under budget, and then City Hall currently will take their vision and say, oh, great idea, as if they created. So we have to make that relationship consistent, and giving TNT a little more fight to their team when they are doing the things that they're doing in terms of looking at issues within our city. And the other piece is the pastoral aspect within City Hall. Having those open relationships and not just having a select group of pastors, but opening up to all the pastors who are interested in being involved, because most of them deal with the people who are in this city consistently, and making sure that their voice and vision is also on the table. So currently, I am having town hall meetings. Go to my website and you can find out where the next one is, because your voice is what matters to me. I've said over the years that there's a particular area or a particular group in this city that has been disenfranchised and marginalized for 32 years. And if we don't hear the voice of the people in this city, then we will always do what we always did, and we will always get what we always got.
The question was on civic engagement. And I'd like to start by saying that I think it's important that you lead by example. Everybody says they hate poverty, but yet they live far away from it. So, as mayor, I will live in a developing neighborhood, because I believe that so much of our work will be cut in half if the community just has more role models. Secondly, we need a new model for nonprofit startups. Too often, when huge amounts of money are given away to big institutions, they give them to all the usual players. You have Clifford Ryan here, OGs Against Gun Violence. You have Latoya Allen here, who has a foundation in the community. These are people who know the community. I believe we need to work with these churches. These churches are trying to do a lot with a little, and they got all the kids. They should have little leagues. They should have basketball teams. And we got to figure out a way to do it differently. Thank you.
Hold on, Holly. There we go. Okay, Holly. So now, this is the third question. Don't start yet. Where are you in relationship to your computer? We've seen your face. Okay? So if you want to go somewhere else, you can. All right? Okay. I'm just giving you some options. Go ahead.
I didn't hear what you said about relationship about computer. hear me? Okay, I'll go. In my experience organizing people, people don't engage because they feel powerless. They're not apathetic, but it's painful to participate if you don't think you can make a difference. So the question was, what mechanisms can we put in place so people participate? In other words, they feel empowered. And I think the first thing is, instead of TNT and town meetings where people sound off, we need real neighborhood government with budgets that people vote on. They elect officers in their neighborhood like they do in New England with the town meetings up there. Every resident is a voter and a participant. They can give instructions to their city councilor and their county legislators and their state reps, and it becomes a real locus of power, and people have a vote on how that money that's allocated to their neighborhood is spent. It's got to be smaller units than TNT. My Section 8 runs from Pioneer Homes to Winkworth. You know, those people don't hang out together. It needs to be the real neighborhood. That's number one. And then I think we need election reforms where we have proportional representation around the world, where every party gets representation in proportion to the vote it gets. Voter turnout goes up. And, you know, I've been as high as 48%, and the Greens have got no representation in the city government. So, and then people say, why vote? It don't make any difference. You know, we can have, like we have 2015, between 25 and 35% of the vote. Proportional representation would mean full representation for everybody. And there, you know, proportions of voting. We need ranked choice voting for offices like mayor and city auditor and council president. We're going to have probably 4 candidates at least in the fall. A candidate could win with 30% under our winner-take-all system. The instant runoff voting, a ranked choice, your ranked choice is 1, 2, 3. Nobody gets the majority in the first round, eliminate the last place candidate, transfer their ballot to their second choice. And you do that until somebody's got a majority. That way, the next mayor will have some legitimacy. And then we need public campaign finance. It's got to be voluntary. Let people that opt in don't take private money. I think a lot of people are cynical that our politicians are bought. I think those are reforms that would all, those are mechanisms that would improve civic engagement and citizen participation.
Thank you, Howard. We received our first set of, Okay. We received our first set of index cards. And I will say this, young folks who are in the audience, this question is going to be about you. Your answers are going to be 30 seconds because it's just an addendum to the original question. And if you are watching this here today and you have a smartphone, you should be, this is the moment where Facebook Live, where videotaping, sharing this kind of information is what should happen, because this is how we move information forward outside of the spaces that we can actually attend and share with other people. So just an acknowledgement that this is open for folks to do that. So a couple of questions came up and it said, and I think some of you answered it, but if you wanted to add to your response, you can. The Ask Community Violence and Youth Task Force will be bringing the Alternatives to Violence Project Training Program to Syracuse. How would you engage youth at the mayoral civic level? Folks have mentioned other youth task force and other folks in the room who work with our youth as well. So I think that's a pretty important question. Many city and county sessions are held during the day when most people are working. What will you do to increase the visibility of these meetings? And how will you include the Syracuse religious community in your administration? Those are the questions on the table. You can choose to answer whichever one, but it's a quick 30 seconds. And it continues the theme of civic engagement, okay? So we're just gonna go down the line. We'll start with you on 30 seconds, and I'm really serious about 30 seconds.
All three in 30 seconds? Is that what you're
No, choose which one. One is about youth engagement at the mayoral and civic level. One is about engaging the Syracuse religious community, and the other one is about making city and council sessions more visible.
I'm going to take the most difficult option, the faith option. I'm a mother, I'm a grandmother. I've raised 4 children. And I know how important faith is to this community. It's important to me, and it's important to the way I raise my children. It's the way we inspire hope, the way we talk about coming together as people who care for each other, care for our neighborhoods, and care for a common good, no matter what your faith is. I think there are a lot of young people in our neighborhoods that don't understand that there are people here for them. And a place of faith, a place of worship for many of us is where we can learn that, where we can be together, where we can take care of each other. And as a mayor, I will talk about faith, how it's important to all of us, and how we can utilize it to ensure that we don't forget our young people and those who are struggling and have so many challenges.
Okay, thank you. Timekeeper, I'm gonna need you to give me I'm gonna need a strong paper for everyone to see. And I'm going to take, carte blanche to just add a little spice to it. I have a son with an intellectual disability, right? So I want you to also think about how you are communicating and how you will allow different types of people to communicate with you. So beyond listening sessions, if somebody can't talk to you, how will you listen to them? If they need to use ASL, think about these things, right? So let's expand that to build it if you want to. You don't have to, but I'm throwing it for you if you want to catch it. Go ahead, Ben.
Sure. So you mentioned your son. I'll mention my daughters. The issue of youth engagement in the future of the city as it relates to our youth is my top priority. My oldest daughter is in the city school district right now in first grade, about to be in second. My youngest daughter is not too far behind her. I'm all in on the future of this city. The children are the future of our city. And to your point, I think we need to figure out different ways to engage them, to come where they are and engage them where they are, as opposed to expect them to come where we are. Technology is a great opportunity to do that. Many of you may see my posts on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, not on Snap yet, but I'm thinking about it. I'm playing around a little bit. But using technology is a great way to engage our youth and also to overcome some communication barriers. That's what I plan to do. Thanks.
And you can just go ahead now.
I'm a father, I'm a grandfather, and I'd like to talk about the religious aspect. I'm also president of my church council. I've been that for over 10 years now, and I belong to a very dramatically changing constituency in that church and neighborhood, and that's Our Lady of Pompeii, St. Peter's on the northeast side. And I've had the pleasure to work with many diverse populations. And I've found with our young people or those that are classified as new Americans, that all it takes is to sit down and talk. That's all they want. They want someone to listen, to say they're listening to them. And if we're going to succeed, we have to bring them in, and we have to make them part of our community and make them feel welcome.
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you.
According to our rules from earlier, before the next person goes, Al Freeman was one of the authors of the question. So if you would like to stand out to have your question just acknowledged, you wrote the Ask Community question. Okay. Hi, Al. So just so you know, the other questions didn't have a name, but we will be calling you if we use your index card to stand and be recognized. So thank you for the reminder. Okay, go ahead.
Thank you. One thing you're going to know about me too is I try to get direct and to the point. I know the Common Council now meets at noon and 1, as was referenced. That is a council action. I will support the council if there's budgetary, if there's live streaming, whatever the case may be. As mayor, I will help the budget so that the council is able to have more accessible meetings. Secondly, on the faith base, as I said, I will continue the ministers' meeting, and it will be open to all, not some. It absolutely will be a broad-based support. Thank you.
Thank you. How would I engage youth? First of all, I would be pulling together all of the leaders and the voices in the community to create more comprehensive after-school programs. We need more filled-out mentoring programs, after-school programs, and internships for students, working with people on a volunteer basis, community business owners in the city who want to work to serve our students by providing them with internships that introduce them to different types of businesses and skills that they can have, and that will help them choose post-secondary careers. With regard to how to help people communicate with me, I have bachelor's and master's degrees in speech language pathology and audiology. You do not even want to ask me that question. I'll be here for an hour.
The fastest way to deal with youth civic engagement is actually build a city where kids want to be. Our biggest export in central New York is intellectual capacity. We have a lot of kids, and we have a tremendous amount of smart kids who we read about in the Syracuse newspaper week to week about the wonderful things they're doing somewhere else. So let's build a city where those kids grow up and want to contribute to this community and engage them from the start to the finish and build a healthy community.
You know, I think about, when we talk about young people, I think back when I was coming up, we had programs like SJPTA, CETA program, SYR program that offered jobs. You know, so reaching out to our government to get some of that spent up money to bring those jobs back so that our youth can actually work and make some money and so that they can help with their school clothes. The other thing is this, we also had citywide rec. How many people are old enough to remember back in the day when all the parks got together and we competed in things like track, basketball, tennis, volleyball, engaging our young people in a way that we can do some things that are constructive to help them build. But that job piece with the JTPA is critical.
Thank you.
In regards to the youth, I would really strive to make sure that every youth in Syracuse has a role model and a mentor. In terms of communicating, I really feel that being present is key. I may be in a suit sometimes, but I also roll up my sleeves and help put something together. Lastly, with the religious centers, I think I touched on that a little bit earlier, just working with any faith-based centers that really are looking to see the city move forward.
And how, do you need any of those repeated?
I don't need it repeated.
Okay, go ahead.
Well, I would rotate public meetings. Some of us work night shifts, so you can't get us all by meeting in the evening. But I think we need to keep that into account. I think we need public broadband because we've been misused and abused by big telecom, Time Warner and Verizon. They don't provide public access. They don't broadcast public hearings or council meetings or board education meetings. A lot of communities have that. We should too. So we need a public broadband system. And then I would employ organizers to help people engage in the neighborhood governments I'm talking about. And we have a democracy deficit. People don't remember how.
Howie, I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to cut you off. I gotta be fair, as Alfonso reminded me. Okay? Thank you.
Okay, as we move to our last question before we go to your questions, there's one thing I want to make sure that I relate to you is that it is not the responsibility of the individual sitting up here to understand how government works. That's your job. To do your homework, to understand what the mayor actually has authority over. So the mayor, for example, you hear no school district questions. Other than the budget, because we are a dependent school district, these ladies and guys have no jurisdiction over the superintendent or the school board. Can build relationships, but no jurisdiction. Today we're talking about mayors. We're going to be talking to the counselors. They have limits to what they do too. It is not the candidate's job to make sure you understand how government runs. Okay. So our last question, keeping what I just said in mind, around criminal justice issue. How, candidates, if mayor, will you create a community action plan inclusive of the mayor's office to prevent gun violence and promote neighborhood safety that does not see SPD as the only solution? I'm going to repeat it one more time. Do a little quicker this time. How will you create a community action inclusive of a mayoral office to prevent gun violence and promote neighborhood safety that does not see the SPD as the only solution? Reminding you of 2 minutes. We're not playing it here today. So Juanita, we're going to start at your end and go the other way. We did, where did we go last time? We started at Juanita, we're going to go to the other side. Sorry, I wasn't paying attention. Raymond.
That's a good question. I think we have to do a better job of using the community to watch over the community. Making sure that we have, Millen doesn't have a community watch, Salina doesn't have a community watch. Making sure that there are strong community watches. And I'm open to creative ideas. I've heard things about a youth curfew, gun buybacks, anything but what we've been doing, I'm open to.
Mr. Davis.
Well, first we have to be very honest and fair about what happens. You know, just recently there was a sheriff who was arrested for selling guns in our community, and he got probation, 2-year probation. It was a young man who was caught with a gun in his car. Somebody who's on my team just so happens to be his lawyer. They're trying to give him 15 years. So we got an individual who's selling guns in our community, 2 years probation. And we can't even count the number of guns he sold in our community. A young man who got caught with a gun in a vehicle is looking at 15 years. So we have to be very honest about how we do business in our city from the judicial perspective. And the other thing is this: we have to do a better job in our community, individuals in our community. I say this all the time, and I'm very consistent about it. It's the difference between someone who's a snitch and someone who cares about their community. If I see someone breaking in Sharon's house, I have an obligation to say, I'm gonna use you as an example. Elle broke into the house, and then be willing to testify, because that's someone who cares about their community. Now a snitch is I'm with Elle, and I break into Sharon's house, and they catch me, and I'll be like, Elle was with me. So we have to be very clear on what the difference means in terms of how we deal in our community. Being responsible for your neighbor is a noble thing. I am my brother's keeper. And if we really are concerned about how we do business in our city, we have to be fair across the board, from the judicial system and taking care of one another. And I think that's how we can be effective.
First thing we have to do is not treat poverty as a crime. I'm worried about the idea of the war on poverty switching to the war on poor people. And we've seen a lot of that in Syracuse, where we have predatory policing actions. And the folks that are typically impacted by that are folks of color and folks that live in these neighborhoods that, you know, can't show up for the meetings at City Hall because they're actually working. So that's